Good morning. It's just after 8:30. It is a Sunday morning. I'm Ron. So that must mean that this is Sunday Morning Live with Ron. Welcome. Welcome, welcome. Welcome wherever you join me on Facebook. Good morning. Thank you for being here. I know it's not fun to be up this early. But I appreciate your being here. And if you're watching a replay, I appreciate you watching that too. We are live on Facebook and Instagram, although my Instagram may have just died. Nope, there we are. Live on Facebook and Instagram and YouTube. Don't forget to look at my YouTube channel. Search for Ron Olcott Photography on YouTube and sign up for my YouTube channel if you would, please. It helps me. I'm not making any money off of it. I can't even get my name yet. So if I have to get 100 people to sign up for my YouTube channel before I can even get my name. So check all those things out. If you like what you see, every single platform, there's a place to express all of your love and appreciation. So go ahead and do that. And follow my page on Facebook and follow me on Instagram and follow me on YouTube. So do all of those things. Oh, what are we doing here? Well, this is Sunday Morning Live with Ron. And every other Sunday morning, we come on here and I will show you what new pieces are going into my gallery and will be featured over the next 2 weeks. So we do that first. And then I will give you a lesson on how to make your photography better. Today's lesson is about composition. We're continuing on composition. So today we're going to talk about leading lines and framing. So those are the two composition techniques that we're talking about today. And that's the second thing we're doing. And then once we're all done with that, we're going to move to the outside where I have my Sony a6000 set up. Right now he's looking at Mr. Bunny. And we will demonstrate framing and leading lines and how they can improve the composition of your photography. So, with all of that in mind, let's jump right in. Hi, Jessica V, or Jessica V, or whoever you are. Welcome, welcome. Glad to have you here. If you come on, say hello. I can see comments right now on all of the platforms, so do say hello. But we're going to start out showing you my new images. So the first image is called When Art Spills Into Life. I took this one at the end of January. I went on an educational shoot with the San Francisco photography group. And we went in to see a light installation called the Illuminati that was and probably still is in Golden Gate Park. This is not the actual light installation. This is a tree that's alongside Peacock Meadow, which is where that installation is. And the tree got all lit up, and the sky was kind of wet, so it picked up a lot of light. So that's the the lights from the art installation spilling into the sky and also side lighting and backlighting this interesting tree that was there. And you know me, I've got lots and lots of shots of the actual installation. I'm still working on how I'm going to make those look as good as it felt to be there. But this one's a tree. I know how to develop to make a tree look right. So this is what it looked like hanging out under that tree. Once again, when art spills into life. Welcome, Facebook friend. The second one is called simply Nuts. This is not a Hershey's Kiss peanut butter cookie, although it looks like it could be, and every time I see it, it makes me want one. And I guess, it is Valentine's Day. I could make some Hershey Kiss peanut butter cookies. Or I could if I hadn't eaten so badly yesterday that I don't get any extra points today. So, be that as it may, this is actually an acorn. There's a variety of oak growing up in Yosemite. I don't know which one. But it makes an acorn that looks like this. That has that frosty orange top on it. And then a dark brown nut underneath. And when I was up in Yosemite last October, I came across at a roadside pullout. I came across the whole collection of these, and I had been seeing them. I had stopped at a few pullouts and seen them a few times around the road and hadn't really gotten a good shot of one until I got this guy. And it came out really well. He was kind of all by himself. All the rest of them, all around him, just outside the frame there are clusters of these things. And they're lying on their sides and they're doing everything. But this guy was sitting there just like that, all by himself. So I took his picture. Thank you, Jessica. Jessica says that's, wow, good. So I appreciate that. Again, this one's called simply Nuts. The next one is called Sailing Home. This was taken at Point Richmond Inner Harbor. That's in California on the San Francisco Bay. For those of you who aren't familiar with the Bay Area. There's a great big marina in there, and I was there one late afternoon. It wasn't really sunset time. It was just late afternoon, late enough to make the lights and the shadows interesting. And this boat had been out on the bay in the middle of December. I don't know what's wrong with them. But they were sailing back into their slip. They did a very nice job. They look very C-shaped. They have their cover on their mainsail and everything's battened down, and they've got their fenders out ready to be at the dock. So they're looking very, very good. Again, sailing home. I get to go sailing. I bought a discount sailing lesson on Groupon. I used to do sailing like, God, 20 years ago, 30 years ago when I lived in LA. My ex-wife and I took sailing lessons. I really enjoyed it. I really love being out in the water and on a sailboat and that quiet of just the wind moving you along. It's an amazing feeling, which I haven't done in probably 30 years. So I signed up for this lesson, and in mid-April, I am going to go take a sailing lesson. So that's going to be fun. But that's not what this is. This is just a boat coming into the harbor. The next picture is called Ellis Lake Picnic, or Picnic if you prefer. This little fellow I found on a hike a couple of weeks ago. In fact, that same day, the morning of the day that I went into San Francisco to shoot that light installation with San Francisco Photography Group, there was supposed to be a class with the Concord Photography Group on shooting in natural light, I think was the name of that class. And it was in a new place for me. There's this little lake where I come from. We'd call it a pond, but they call it a little lake. It's right in Concord. It's right across the street, literally, from where I used to do my laundry before I bought my washer and dryer. And I just never knew it was there. It's tucked in behind the first 5 Concord place. And there's a fun playground shot I got while I was there too. But I walked all the way around this lake. When the instructor didn't show up, I figured, what the heck? I was out there. It was a pretty spot. I walked all the way around this lake. Again, I got some really nice pictures. But the one that caught my eye the most to put first was this little brown squirrel. And he was just eating, and he was pretty determined to be eating. So I managed to get pretty close to him. This is using my zoom lens. So I did zoom in as much as I could, and then still had to crop a bit. But he let me get fairly close to him. I'd take a step closer and he'd look at me, and then he'd go back to eating. And then he'd look at me, and then he'd spin around, and then he'd go back to eating. So he was just having a fun picnic. He did not want me to disturb him. So, well, I don't know why that's not coming across. That's not coming across at all anymore on Instagram. How interesting. So, those are the 4 pieces. Go through them once again. We start with When Art Spills into Life. The next one is Nuts. The next one is Sailing Home. And then finally, Ellis Lake Picnic. So those will be going up into my new images gallery tomorrow morning, the way I usually do it. So I put that up in my new images gallery tomorrow morning, and then those will be the featured images that I talk about in my posts over the next 2 weeks. So you'll hear more and more about those. I'm wondering what happened here with my Instagram. It really seems quite frozen on my starting shot. It says it's live. Let me just leave them and come back to them for a second and see if they are no, they're not as completely frozen as it. Yeah, it's giving me trouble. I think I've got too much going on in my personal network. For some reason, it's not sending a very strong signal over here where I've got my studio set up today. But it's all there. Believe it or not. I don't know if Jessica's still here. And thank you, whoever is watching on Facebook. Appreciate it. So that was the first thing that we do. We show you pictures because I'm a photographer. What? You say? You're a photographer? Yes. I'm Ron Olcott. I own a website. It's called Ron Olcott Photography. See that? Right there on the screen. It's on the internet, so it must be true. And you'll see all kinds of eclectic pictures up there, much like the variety that you saw this morning. So that's the first thing we're going to do. In a second, we're going to give you the lesson on how to do pictures better yourself. But this is the point in the show where I always do announcements. So the first announcement is 2 weeks from today, which will be the 28th, the very last day of February. We will be doing Sunday Morning Live with Ron again. You Can't Stop Me. That will be number 28, and it will put us close to March. And I believe that March was the month that I started this a year ago. It might have been April, but we're coming up pretty close in the next month or two on having been doing this at some regularity for a full year now. And still, I haven't learned anything. Yeah, I have. I've learned a lot. So thank you, everybody that's listened and commented and watched and seen what I do. So we had fun with the new images. 2 weeks from today, we will be doing Sunday Morning Live with Ron again. On March 1st, which will be the day after that, we'll be drawing for the winner of our February giveaway. And our February giveaway is this piece here. All right. It's called Still Life with Floating Feather. Okay. And it's physically this piece here. It's hard to see. If I turn it into that light a little bit, you can see even beyond the plastic wrap that it's in, that it is a metallic paper print here. For those of you on Instagram, we have to do this. Okay. And for those of you with 3D glasses, we have to do this. Ooh, scary. So this is the giveaway. If you're on my email list, you're already entered, so you don't have to enter again. If you're not on my email list, then you need to go right now. So you don't forget to ronalcottphotography.com and get signed up. When you go there at the top of the page, wait a couple seconds. At the top of the page, thing will pop up and say, enter the drawing for Still Life with Floating Feather. Okay, and when you click that link, it will take you to the entry page, and you'll put in your email address so that you'll get on my email list, and that's all you have to do to qualify. And once you're qualified, you stand a chance of winning. And once you win, you get a print. This print right here, mailed directly to you, no mailing charges, no extra fee to sign it, no extra fee to put a dedication on the back. If you win with Ron, then you win. Okay? This is not a trick to get you to overspend on shipping and handling. It's like free plus $29.95 shipping and handling. Like, no. If you win, you win. This one right here, I will sign it. I'll sign it over here because that's where you sign things. Okay? I'll sign it. I will write your name and a dedication on the back to you personally if you are the winner. But hurry. We've got 736 people on my mailing list right now. Okay? And your odds get worse every single month. So if you want to win a print, now's the time to do it. Okay? We still have 2 calendars. This is our Rockaway Rocks calendar for 2021. Okay. As you can see, it comes with many beautiful pictures taken at Rockaway Beach. That's Rockaway Beach in Pacifica, California. It's not the New England, the Long Island version. Okay. And when you get one of these calendars, free of charge. Not only do you get like these 12 pictures, plus the front cover, plus the back cover, you get 365 days free of charge. Okay, I'll just toss those in as a gift with the calendar. You can have all of those days in 2021 to make your life better. Okay. Now, if you actually do make your life better, that's up to you. There's no guarantee on that, but you'll have the opportunity once you get a calendar. If you don't get a calendar, who knows what kind of opportunities you'll have. It'll be a mystery. It'll be a whole mystery year, and you won't know where you are, and time will go by, and you'll be lost. Absolutely lost without one of my calendars. I know I am. Lost, that is, all the time. Sunday morning, just sitting in my little makeshift studio that's actually on a side piece of my bedroom. But it's right next to the backyard. Getting real schizophrenic today because I've got my screens and door and everything open, and my room is warmed up to a nice temperature, and the outside is 45, which I know for some of you would be heaven right now, but for me, that's not a very nice temperature. So that's why I've got my big long sleeve thing on under my shirt. But we've done our one thing. We've shown you the pictures. Okay. And evidently that's what you all came for because you all left. But I showed you the pictures, and now I'm going to give you a lesson because that's what I promised. So even if you're not here, I keep my promise. Here we are. Wait, here I am. It's not where you are yet. We go here. All right. So our source is this article from Petapixel called 20 Composition Techniques That Will Improve Your Photos. It's a blog post from September 2016 by Barry O'Carroll. It's very interesting. Most of the time, I work when I'm not taking photography, I work in technology. In technology, you always have to check the dates on your source materials because technology, that would be good. That would be, I would love some technology. But technology changes so fast that you have to check your source dates. If it's too old, you probably want to find a newer source. With photography, particularly photography techniques, you don't have to pay that careful attention. So 2016 article is perfectly good, particularly for composition, because composition, the Greeks started some of these basic ideas, even before the Greeks. Okay, the rules of composition have been around forever. I did not make them up. But we're doing this module on composition, and they were kind enough to point out 20 of them. And 20 seems like a lot to cover in a 1-hour show. So we're breaking it up. Last week, we covered the rule of thirds. Okay. And you'll notice over here, when we look at Mr. Bunny, okay, that I have him on the thirds line. Okay. And in fact, his eye, this eye right here, his left eye is lined up right at the intersection of the top third and the right third. Okay, because we learned last week that's a very powerful place to be. Okay, let's skip that ad. I can get some of these pictures, some of the ad pictures out of the way so that when we go back to here, you can see more of the text. Okay, so rule of thirds is just dividing things in thirds vertically, horizontally, and then placing interesting objects on the thirds lines. Okay, go anywhere. The first thing they're going to teach you about composition is the rule of thirds. The second rule that we covered last week was called centering and symmetry. Okay? And that's where you obtain balance by having exactly the same thing on the left as you do on the right. Okay? And this picture is a perfect example of that. All right. Here, they used vertical symmetry with the reflections in the water, and then also the rule of thirds in that this tree and its reflection is over here on the right-hand third line. Okay. And then the third one that we covered last week is using foregrounds to add interest and depth. Okay. So in this picture, we've got a nice waterfall with a nice foreground, so we know that the waterfall is a little ways away, and it sort of gives us some perspective as to how big that waterfall might be. But so they've highlighted just the foreground here. All right. This is another picture where we've got a city skyline. And it would have been a really good picture, you know, if he'd stepped just a few inches over and just taken the city skyline, he still would have had a very nice picture. But to give you some perspective about where you are, he included this dock cleat in the foreground. Okay, so those are the things that we covered last week. Okay, this week, see if I can get rid of him. Nope. It's going to go to the ad. Usually there's a way to get rid of the ads. Not finding it right now. But today we're going to talk about framing a scene. Okay? Having a picture within a picture. It helps you portray some depth. Okay? So here is taken through this doorway across, I think they said it was St. Mark's. Yeah, St. Mark's Square in Venice. So looking through this archway, he's created a frame to look at the baptistry and the tower over here. Okay, so that gives you a feeling of how far away they are, because it ties into adding foreground elements. Okay, so here we had a foreground element. All right. And that foreground element is an archway that frames the entire picture. I know you can't quite see all of it at once, but when you scroll down, to the bottom, yeah, there's a lintel to the frame. So another example, okay, they don't have to be arches and windows. Okay, when you're out shooting landscape, a nearby tree, you can use the trunk and a branch of the tree to create a frame. And here the grasses, which are at the same level as the trunk and the tree, sort of extend that whole frame effect. And what it does is it draws your eye into what's inside there. And by placing this house with its reflection over here on the third line, we're doubly drawn to that location. So that's the idea of frames. Okay, and we're going to try to demonstrate that in a little bit. But the whole idea is find something in the foreground that will sort of put your hero, okay, the thing you're taking a picture of, into perspective. Now that's something that people don't talk about enough. Before you start using all of these tricks, these composition techniques, you need to know what you're taking a picture of. Okay? Because how are you going to draw your audience's eyes to that if they don't? If you don't know what you're taking a picture, how are you going to draw your audience's eyes to the thing that you found interesting in that picture? So always identify what you're taking a picture of. Okay, that's kind of composition rule 0. Okay, so that's framing. The next concept, again, one you'll hear over and over and over again, is leading lines. Okay, in this case, he has highlighted all these leading lines. The tiles don't have these big white lines in them. Those are just highlights. But he used the tiles on this plaza as leading lines to pull you back into the picture and onto the Eiffel Tower. This, of course, is Paris. That's where the Eiffel Tower is. So it's convenient that he took that picture in Paris. Then another example of leading lines. They don't have to be straight and they don't have to be converging. In fact, oftentimes, the most desired leading line is what's called an S-curve. Okay? Here we have a bending line that sort of starts to take us out of the picture, but then comes back and wraps around this tree and really anchors that tree as the hero, as the subject of our picture. Okay, it pulls us along this white foreground and right to that tree. Okay, so you can use all kinds of lines for leading lines. You do want to watch out, okay, that, okay, if on this one, if that road just kept going that way, that would not be a good leading line. Okay, that would just be a line that takes your interest from down here and runs it off the page, and you might have a hard time describing to somebody that that was a picture of a tree. People's eyes follow lines. So make sure your leading line is leading to the thing that you want to take a picture of. So those are our 2 composition techniques for this week. Okay. The first one was frames, either a formal frame like a door or a window, okay, or an informal frame like a tree or a shrub. Doesn't even have to be alive. I framed some things up with some fallen trees just to get the framing right. And then the second thing is leading lines. Okay, find lines that will take your viewer from the foreground back into the picture and keep them converged on and looking at the subject of your picture. They can be straight converging lines like this. They can be S-curves like that. They can be somewhere in between a frame and leading lines. Okay, so if you have a vertical leading line and a horizontal leading line, and where they meet, that's the subject of your picture. Okay, that's partially framing, and it's using leading lines. You see, all of these things really are tied together. Okay, just like framing is a different way, a more specific way to do foreground, then leading lines can lead to framing. Okay. In fact, if you look at his framing example up here, okay, you will notice there are also leading lines all the way across the square. Okay. And do you think that that's a mistake? No. Architects know about leading lines. They know how to present something, their building, in a way that they want to draw your eye to the thing that they want to draw your eye to. Okay? As I said, these techniques were not invented with photography. These techniques of composition go back a long, long ways. So that's the lesson for today. We're talking about framing and leading lines. We talked about in 2 weeks, we're doing this all over again. Well, not this. It'll be a different lesson. It'll be different pictures. It'll be the same me. So I guess I'm the only this that's left over to go to next week. But that being as it may, the other thing that we have done is we looked at our new images. This is When Art Spills into Life, Nuts, Sailing Home, and Ellis Lake Picnic. So we've looked at all of those already. We've done done the lesson, and we've reminded you about the giveaway, right? Still Life with Floating Feather. Okay. It scrolls, it zooms. That's for those of you with 3D glasses. All right. So, Still Life with Floating Feather. You go to the website. The website is ronalcottphotography.com. Okay. And on that website, you'll see the opportunity to go ahead and sign up for the February drawing. And on March 1st, which is the day after our next Sunday Morning Live with Ron, we'll come on live at 5:30 and we will draw the winner live. So that's what we'll do in 2 weeks. And then I'm going sailing in the middle of April. I know you're thrilled about that. I have decided I'm not doing the art show in March that I thought I might do. Just because I am just getting my first dose of the vaccine on Monday. So I would not have time to get second dose and then build up my antibodies before that show. So that's the reason I'm not doing the Dublin St. Patrick's Day Festival here in Dublin, California. We talked about the calendar. There's only 2 of them left. Get them now. All right. Beautiful pictures. Birds. Can't go wrong with birds. Calendar. All of that. All in one nice, neat package. And a name. Rockaway Rocks. Can't argue with Rockaway Rocks because it does. Let's see. I guess that means that all that is left is we're going to switch back over to the Sony a6000. I'm going to step out this door behind me, and we're going to demonstrate frames and leading lines. That's what we're going to demonstrate. Okay. So I'm going to switch you over there. I won't be able to see any comments, so I apologize ahead of time. So if you got anything to say, speak now or forever hold your peace, or at least you can speak anytime. I just won't see it and be able to talk to you until I get back in here. So jumping over to the live view off of my Sony a6000. That's my lovely backyard. That's my mascot, Mr. Bunny. And I'm about to join him out there and take some pictures for you. Now, I have difficulties when I'm doing this, just to warn you ahead of time, because when I am out there, I can't actually see the picture that is on the back of the camera because I'm sending it to you. So once I get out there, every once in a while, your screen's going to go blank while I frame up the picture, and then you'll see it live, and then we'll take the picture. All right? So here we go. My knees are really sore lately. Personal problem, I understand that, but here we go. Moving to the backyard, seeing Mr. Bunny. Here we go, here we go, here we go. I'm just taking a couple extra sips of coffee because it is still chilly out here. All right, so we got Mr. Bunny, and right now he's showing off the rule of thirds. All right, but our topics today are not the rule of thirds. Our topics today it's sparkling. I hope that doesn't hurt my camera. So he's on a rule of thirds line. Okay, if I frame up the picture, I don't know if you can see the rule of thirds that actually display in the viewfinder, but we'll take that picture. So now we need a way to frame him up. Okay, so that's going to mean getting him a little bit further away from us and creating a frame. And this is just enough moisture that we're also going to be sure we move the camera back under the porch cover. Uh-oh, I kicked you out anyway. All right, so let me get reset up here so that you can see what I'm doing. Should have known when it popped back up and started showing me the picture that I had kicked that out. So we're looking around, saying, what can we do to build a frame? There, that should get you back. There, yeah, that gets you back. Okay, now I'm just shooting off into nothing. I got out of the rain. Quite unexpected clear sky rain. I don't understand it. But we're out of it. So we need a frame for Mr. Bunny. Okay. So let's do this. Let's put Mr. Bunny back here. This should be an interesting shot. All right. And then we're going to take the camera off of the tripod and actually hold it in my hands like it was a real camera or something. We're going to carefully move our stuff. Okay. Now, I have put Mr. Bunny behind a frame. Now, I've got to pop, as I said, I've got to pop this out so I can see what I'm framing. Okay. Let's move back a bit. Okay. So, just so you're not in the dark, I'm always in the dark. That doesn't surprise me. All right. So we're moving back. I'm going to look down here again. Oop, he went to a picture. There we are. Now, notice, I zoom out a little bit. Okay. There. I have to stay hunched over this. Notice now how I have gotten Mr. Bunny framed up underneath this chair. Okay. So those chair legs in the front and then a little further back Okay. Sort of pull your attention back into the much smaller image of Mr. Bunny than we had just a few minutes ago. Okay. So you can see how creating a frame there has helped us to define what we want people to look at in this wide open scene. We want their eyes pulled back to where they can see Mr. Bunny. Okay. Now we're going to do some leading lines. And because we're out here on the patio, if I just do this, and let me check the composition. Oop, I just changed my, okay. I have to get a little bit closer to the line, I think. There we go. Why is that shooting so slow? A little bit overexposing today. So I'm going to take the exposure compensation down a bit, I think. But now you see I've got a leading line that takes me right straight back to Mr. Bunny. Okay. And again, he's not very big in the scene, all things told, but by adding that leading line in the foreground, that allows us to pull the viewer's eyes back to where he actually is. Okay? So we're going to look at those pictures. If I disconnect you again on my way over there, I'm just moving over where I can see my screen, so I can see the pictures that you're seeing. And hopefully I can do it without disconnecting the whole thing again. Here we are. All right. So let's go here. You're not seeing any of this, are you? Well, that's really quite terribly bizarre. You're just seeing leaves. Why is that, I wonder? Well, that's set up. That's set up. Why are you only seeing leaves? Good thing I took some pictures of it. Let me come here. It's going to go dark for a second. Okay. Oh. Because it's not finding it. There we go. It got so disconnected that the computer lost track of it. So let's see if the computer can see it now. Cancel. We go here, we pull it up. No. It says it doesn't know it. Well, that's just no good at all. So we're going to do something else to show you these pictures. Okay. Hang on. I've got to hook it up a different way, and we'll actually load them on the computer. So you will see some pictures. This technology is really not the best, and I may be investigating some new ways to get around that soon. But discard the changes. it says it's got 411 pictures. I don't want 411 pictures. Oh, I didn't take any pictures of the framing. Well, hopefully you saw some of the framing. But we'll bring all those in and just import those guys. It's what happens when you're working on more than one computer at a time. So things happen. Now, let me go here, change this. Here, we'll let you look at me anyway in the meantime. But no, I have to change this here. Boom. And let's delete that one and go here. Let's go to, oh, I gotta have them up somewhere. I guess I need to have them open somewhere. Okay. Ding-a-ding-a-ding-a-ding-a-ding. We can cut this out, right? We can just edit this after it's not live. But the live versions will still have this. Sorry. So we go to my drive, pictures. And here we are. What happened to today? Well, you're not going to see him. Sorry. Sorry. Technology failed me again. But you saw the examples. In the stories. And when I get these online, I will also post the images that I took with the lesson, with my A6000 demonstration. I'll post those in the comments so everybody has them. In the meantime, we're coming up on our hour, and we hate to keep anybody more than an hour. Not that any of you have been kept here an hour, but I have, and my throat gets sore when I talk more than an hour at a time. People seem surprised at that because I am, in fact, able to talk continuously, pretty much without breathing or stopping for any reason until I get distracted by technology. But all of that being true, it's still Sunday morning. It's still Sunday Morning Live with Ron. And I want to thank you all for being here. Hopefully you got something. Your composition will be better. The better your composition, the more people will love your photos. And hopefully you like my photos. And if you do, and you'd like a chance to win one, go to the website, sign up for the giveaway. If you want to learn more about composition, we'll be continuing on with these 20 composition tips. In 2 weeks on the 28th of February. And then the day after that will be the drawing for the February giveaway. So make sure you go now so you don't forget and get signed up. Meanwhile, you be good to yourself. Be kind to other people and become the person that you would like to meet. Peace out.